Welcome to another episode of Viatorian Voices, where our conversations on the way give witness to the ministry and spirituality of walking with youth and those who go underserved, as we strive to do everything well so that through us Jesus may be adored and loved. This episode comes to you from the busiest corner of downtown Arlington Heights, Illinois. Once a month, Father Corey Brost and Brother Michael Gosch coordinate a public witness in support of immigrants in the United States, rooted largely in the ecumenical and interfaith partnership of Viator of Hospitality, the residential program founded by Viatorians for young men seeking asylum in the U.S. The reach of these public witness gatherings includes groups like Cristo Rey St. Martin College Prep in Waukegan, Illinois, the Iskali movement of Latino-Hispanic Catholic young adults, Young Muslims of Chicago, the Children of Abraham Coalition for Christian, Jewish, and Muslim youth, and Sisters and Brothers of Immigrants, a coalition of Catholic professed religious women and men, and more. Once a month, people from these communities come together to peacefully and quietly hold signs in downtown Arlington Heights on a Friday evening. As commuter trains come into the downtown station along the tracks at this intersection, as traffic floods these two busiest streets of the village, and as people idle in their cars waiting at the red light, this group is there with messages of advocacy, justice, and hope. Many people honk, give thumbs-up signs and joyful waves. Others shake their heads or lower their windows to voice criticism. So, why do this? Why have public witness? What makes people show up month in, month out, like these 40 folks who gathered on Friday, August 1st? What's the point? I'm your host, Associate Dan Masterton. After you listen, help us tell the Viatorian story by rating our podcast in your favorite app, sending this episode link to a friend, and praying for and encouraging young men considering Viatorian religious life. To begin this episode from the Public Witness event, let's hear first from longtime social justice and immigration advocate Father Tom Long. Tom holds a master's degree in social work, spent a decade working with the HIV/AIDS community as the AIDS crisis surged, and continues to work closely with people in immigration, including chaplaincy visits to detention centers.
I think in these times, when I'm seeing the news every day and becoming more and more horrified, the question arises, what can I do to counteract it? And this, and one of the principles is, as far as you can't go solitary on this, you have to go united. This is one example of being united in protest and not staying silent. During the AIDS epidemic, there was the slogan, silence equals death. And in this case here, silence equals death of our democracy.
And so, it's on the shoulders of Viatorians like Father Tom that Father Corey, Brother Michael, and the generations of Viatorians that follow can stand. In 2017, Father Corey and Brother Michael founded Viator House, and it's gone on to become a robust ecumenical and interfaith community of volunteers, donors, and advocates that have served over 120 young men seeking asylum from 29 different nations of origin now here in the U.S. Here's why Corey and Michael continue to give public witness.
So the supporters of Viator Hospitality are out here once a month to remind all those who pass what our nation really stands for, and that is compassionate welcome of people seeking refuge in our nation, especially young people. And what we believe is that the more we're out here, not only do we make our values clear and we more easily hold on to our values, but we encourage people to look for ways they can speak out.
I think it's important that people, especially Viatorians, take a stand to counter the narrative that's out there about immigrants in terms of them being rapists and murderers and criminals. It demonizes and dehumanizes people. Are there some immigrants who are criminals? Sure. Is it the majority? Absolutely not. This country was built by immigrants.
In addition to Tom, Corey, and Michael, many others come out to stand for immigrants. As I walked around the group, a few folks were willing to share why they come and what difference they think it can make. Here's some reflections from along the sidewalks with those sharing in the giving of public witness.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and I've been involved in immigration advocacy for about 10 years. And I'm here because I feel like each one of us can make a little difference, particularly in this community where we all have so much. If we can get one or a few people to think a little bit differently, maybe say something, maybe read something different, maybe look up something when they get home, maybe speak a little differently, I think that makes a huge difference. And it's like these little moments of everyday advocacy that I feel like are so important for each of us.
Hi, I'm Marianne LaForest. I'm 72 years old. This is my third protest. I did the No Kings Day, the John Lewis Day, and now this about the immigrants, and it's because our country is in peril. I was asked at a doctor's office if I was depressed, and I said on the 4th of July I was super depressed because I didn't know if we would have a country next year. So the little bit that I can do standing on the sideline with a sign, that's something I can do, as well as to give money as much as I can.
My name is Tony. I'm out here at the rally for immigrants, and one thing I've thought of is that I'm glad I'm here around people who care about this issue and other issues. It seems that so many of the people I'm around day by day either don't care about it or don't want to talk about it, and it makes me feel better that there are other people who have the same views. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jean Wood, and I am almost 85. We'll be in September. And I have been at a lot of protests, including back in Buffalo where I used to live, because I think it's important to stand up. And I want to be in the footsteps of John Lewis, who was involved in all the Martin Luther King protests. I think that the Viatorians with the Viatorian House of Hospitality is a wonderful ministry, and I volunteer there, and I've gotten to know some of the young men, and I'm so proud of all the volunteers who have really helped them learn English, learn how to drive, and it takes a lot of courage for Father Corey to down to the border and find these young men, because if they're 18 and they don't have any family or organizations to help them out, they would end up in prison. So it's a very, very good ministry, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Even though I'm a United Methodist and not a Roman Catholic, so it's just one of the things I want to do, and I believe in ecumenical action.
My name is Mary, and I am here, and I've been at all of these protests because it gives us a way of expressing how we feel about things, not just listening to the news and saying, oh, well. So, and I'm ashamed, and I am concerned for these poor people that are immigrants looking for a better life, and this is what they get. It's just terrible.
All right, so I would say it's two things. One is just the essence and the spirit of who we are as Americans. We are a society of immigrants. We are founded on that. We're built by immigrants, right? And so we are opening and welcome to immigrants. And so what's happening with the current administration is antithetical to how we as Americans think about immigrants. So number one is just flat out, it's the right thing for who we are as a society to support these folks. And then number two, why here, why now, why this street corner? I think there are a lot of people that don't know how to vocalize that, don't know how to say what they feel in their gut is right, as opposed to what they're seeing out there in the world. And so being a physical, visible presence, I'm not a post on Facebook kind of guy. I'm a stand out on the street corner with a sign kind of guy. And be here on my own 2 feet and show people this is what it means to stand up for immigrants, to stand up for what we think is right in our society. So that's why I'm here today.
After about an hour or so of public witness, Father Corey gathered the group for a final word and a prayer. The traffic and trains get a bit loud, but let's listen in.
The 23 young men from 13 nations who call Viatorhouse home, I will send the picture and video to them.
Father Corey said to the group, "The 23 men who call Viatorhouse home, I will send the pictures and video to them. I think it touches their hearts to know that we're out here reminding our nation about our most basic values, particularly since most of us are people of faith. So not only are we influencing folks and reminding them about what we need to stand for, but I think we encourage them to speak out when they see us speaking out. As you can see across the nation, we're part of a movement, a resistance that is growing and will continue to grow, so thank you for being part of that. Our nation has passed through dark times before, but it only passes through because good people like you push us through. We'll push through this dark time. We'll all be able to look back with a sense of healthy pride and know that we helped push us through this dark era. So may we take a moment of quiet for the people who are under threat of detainment, in detention, people being deported, people on our border right now who are seeking refuge but are not being allowed to come across and ask for asylum, including kids, especially unaccompanied kids." That's all for this episode of Viatorian Voices. We'd like to thank Father Corey, Brother Michael, Father Tom, and all our friends for giving public witness to the dignity and rights of immigrants. We pray that we will become a country of both justice and welcome, balancing national security and diverse American community by living out our deeply committed gospel values. Viatorian Voices Conversations on the Way is a production of the Viatorian community. Viatorians are professed brothers and priests and women and men lay associates. Together we proclaim Jesus Christ in the gospel and raise communities where faith is lived, deepened, and celebrated. In the footsteps of the Venerable Louis Querbes and under the patronage of St. Viator, we strive to do everything well so that through us Jesus may be adored and loved. This includes Viator House of Hospitality, a residential program and community home in the Chicago suburbs, where hope, healing, and opportunity thrive for young men seeking asylum in the United States. Rather than being detained in group facilities upon turning 18, young men can live at Viator House, where they receive social services, legal support, and access to work permits and jobs, as well as education and tutoring. To learn more about these young men and this community, visit viatorhouseofhospitality.com or follow them on Instagram at viatorhouseofhospitality. To learn more about our community, visit Viatorians.com or follow us on social media at Viatorian USA. Young adults seeking to connect with faith-filled peers can follow Viatorian YA on the Way on Instagram, where our young adult community is building new pathways for walking together in faith. Those seeking support and accompaniment in exploring God's invitations for them are invited to reach out to Vocation Ministry. Send us a DM on social media or email us at vocations@viatorians.com to start a conversation. Remember, you can help us tell the Viatorian story by rating our podcast in your favorite app, sending this episode link to a friend, and praying for and encouraging young men considering Viatorian religious life. On behalf of the Viatorian community, I'm Associate Dan Masterton. Venerable Louis Querbes, inspire us. St. Viator, pray for us. Adored and loved be Jesus.